For subtraction, we use some of the same rules we use for addition. So for example, if I was asked to do 648 take away 27, I would again use what we're calling the column method. So I'd have to think about alignment. Unlike addition, we have no choice with regards order. We have to put the first number first. But here you can see my units are aligned and so are my tens. And again, unlike addition, we have to go top to bottom. So here it's going to be 8 take away 7, which in this case is 1. 4 take away 2, which in this case is 2. And 6 take away, well, there's nothing below the 6. It's like there's an invisible 0. So 6 take away 0 is just 6. In other words, for this first example, the answer to 648 take away 27 is just 621. Okay, let's do another example, one a little bit more involved. Imagine we're doing 4,824 take away 788. Okay, so again I'm going to align them using the column method. 4, 8, 2, 4, take away 7, 8, 8. They're aligned to the right hand side, and we can see our first problem. 4 take away 8 doesn't go. You don't put minus 4, for example. What you do is you borrow. So you borrow from the next column along, which in this case is the 2. So because we borrowed 1 from the 2 becomes 1, and the 1 we've borrowed we stick into our first column. It doesn't become 5. In our mind's eye we read that now as 14. So then we say 14 take away 8. Well, that's 6. And the next column is now 1 take away this next 8. Well, 1 take away 8 also doesn't go, so we need to do some borrowing. And notice the direction I go to borrow. I move to the left in order to borrow. I always only borrow 1, so 8 becomes 7. The 1 I've borrowed now comes next to our 1 to make 11 in our mind's eye. 11 take away 8 is 3. And you can see how you've got to be quite careful with your handwriting because it comes very quickly messy, particularly on that top line. Next one is 7 take away 7, which is 0. And then 4 take away an imaginary 0 is just 4. In other words, our answer to 4,824 take away 788 is 4,036. Okay, final example. This is going to really test us now. 3,007 take away 2,876. Now the reason this is testing us is because of the question, how do we deal with those zeros? Well, let's see how we do it. Let's lay it out in the column method as usual. 3007 take away 2876. This time alignment's easy because both numbers have the same number of digits. 7 take away 6, well, I can do that, that's just 1. 0 take 7, well, that doesn't go. And if I look to borrow, well, the next digit along is also 0. I can't borrow from there. I have to keep going to the left hand side until I find a digit from which I can borrow. So I'm going to borrow from the 3, which clearly will become the 2. And so momentarily I have a 1 that I've just borrowed, and that belongs always to the next column along. So here it belongs to not the column I want. The column I want is over here. This column has got a 10 in, so what I'll do is I'll borrow from that 10 to make that a 9, and then finally the 1 goes into the column I originally wanted to now make 10. 10 take away 7 is just 3. The rest of it's quite easy now. 9 take away 8 is 1, and 2 take away 2 is 0. I could put a 0 there, or I could just leave it as it is. I'll leave it without the 0 because we usually do not put zeros in front of whole numbers. But we can record our answer for 3007 take away 2876 is 131. Now, in order to check that we have the right answer, we can do a very nice trick which involves addition. I take these bottom two numbers and I add them. 2876 76, add 131. Careful about alignment. 6 and 1 is 7, 7 and 3 is 10, well that's note down carry 1, 8 and 1 is 9, and the one I carried is 10, so that's note down carry 1, and 2, add the one I carried, is 3. And you've seen how the check works. I should get back to my original number, and that allows me to be confident that this answer is correct. Now you may have found that example rather confusing because we had that curious 10 value which then had to become a 9. Now there's a way of doing this without one small step. Let me just show you. If I just get rid of this bit of working out here and write down my original sum again, which of course was 3007, take away 2876. The first part's straightforward. 7 takes 6 is just 1. And when 0 takes 7, I said to myself I can't go. I knew I had to borrow from the 3, that would become a 2, and I knew that the 1 I wanted would eventually end up back on the column I'm interested in. But there's a single 0 in the way from between where I was stood, as it were, here, to where I borrowed from. And that ended up, after my little discussion, with a 9. And some people prefer to do it this way, where we don't bother calling it momentarily a 10 and just go straight to it being a 9. And notice how it wasn't the first 0 that became a 9, that became a 10, that received the borrowed number. It was the 0 in the way from where it started to where it ended up. Of course that makes the answer the same as it should do. And let me show you one other example that would really nail this. Here's a completely new example. So again, just create some space for ourselves, and let's imagine we're doing, I'll choose a different colour. Let's pick one with several zeros. 4 0 0 0 5 take 3 4 6 2 8. It looks pretty horrendous that, but we can now use our little shortcut as it were. 5 take 8 doesn't go, so I'm going to borrow from the next available digit. In this case it's a 4, which becomes a 3, and the 5 therefore becomes a 15. Now in the way between that 5 and that 4 there were 1 2 3 zeros. They each become 9s. The zeros in the way become 9s. And this last step now is very straightforward. 15 take 8 is 7, 9 take 2 is 7, 9 take 6 is 3, whoops, my maths is a bit dodgy there, 9 take 4 is 5, and 3 take 3, well that just is not required. And again, if I wanted to, I could just do an addition to check that they're okay, particularly as I was a little unsure there. 8 plus 7 is 15, 5 down carry 1, 7 plus 2 is 9 plus 1 is 10, 3 plus 6, whoops it is, I forgot to put a carry there, 3 plus 6, add the 1 is also 10, note down carry 1, 5 plus 4 is 9 plus the 1 again is 10, note down carry 1, and 3 plus nothing there but the 1 there is 4, and I do get back to my original answer. You choose which way to go, either this method which has zeros becoming 10s, or this method where zeros in the way become 9s. It's entirely your choice. Thank you.